Benny is a cute but foolish-appearing black boy. On their class assessments, all of his classmates receive very high grades, but his results are fairly predictable. He consistently receives single-digit grades, making him the laughingstock of his classmates. He tells his mother that he is the most ignorant person alive and that he cannot get any smarter because of this. His mother, however, has a different opinion. She continually inspires him by telling him that he can succeed in life. This is the real-life account of a guy who overcame unimaginable odds and led an exceptional life. He repeatedly receives racist slurs and taunts from friends and professors, but he always rises above it and accomplishes what only a genius can. This classroom is where his story begins. He fails his class test once more, as expected. A girl claims she has none, but the instructor overhears 9, while other pupils receive scores of 20 or more. When the teacher mistakes Bernie's answer for 9, she seems pleased with her bad performance. By Bernie's standards, this is a significant improvement. When everyone finds Bernie's markings, the class roars with laughter as though it were regular. This is not the end of it. To make matters worse, anytime someone sees Bernie, they make fun of him. Bernie is followed everywhere for the wrong reason, not because he is praised. Bullies start harassing him once they follow him. Like anyone would be in his position, he appears to be frustrated. Bernie loses control of his temper and hits a youngster in the face while holding a lock in his hand, causing the boy to bleed to death. The principal informs his mother of the event and summons her to his office. The young mother is not less alarmed when he also gives her Bernie's report card. He struggles in practically every topic. Bernie's self-confidence and way of thinking have been profoundly impacted by these bullying occurrences. He continually tells Sonia, his mother, that he is not intelligent enough. But for him and his older brother Curtis, their mother is a constant source of inspiration. Bernie once begs his mom for assistance with his homework. By claiming that she requires new reading glasses, Sonia sidesteps the problem. She learns that Bernie has an eye condition. He is unable to read because he has trouble seeing the small print. Then, he puts on his spectacles. He starts doing well on examinations in class and in the spelling bee. He attends church on Sunday morning to hear the sermon. The preacher seems to be an excellent motivator and speaker. He shares a tale about a physician. In his remarks, Bernie begins to see himself as the doctor while fending off a pirate. He has the key to a completely new universe of learning and development thanks to his imagination. He informs his mother when he gets home that he wants to become a doctor. He moves over his doubt that he is not intelligent. His outlook on life changes, but Sonia is not pleased. The guys watch television frequently. She goes to a mental hospital because she is depressed. She discusses her concern and dread with the doctor. She was unable to attend school and married at the young age of 13. She learns that her husband is married to another woman and that they have children together. She keeps the marriage going because she was worried about the upbringing of her son. But she later learns that her spouse is involved in the drug trade. She leaves the marriage and raises her sons. Her life is challenging as a single mother. She maintains the family by working as a cleaner. But she keeps her true self from her kids. Her mental health suffers greatly as a result, and she develops melancholy as a result of her overwhelming worry and anxiety. She discloses her suicide intentions to the doctor. He advises that she check herself in for a few days. Despite her worries, she makes the same choice. Curtis and Bernie are informed by Sonia that she will be in Detroit. She surrenders custody of them to an old woman. She requests that they learn the tables. Despite their protests, the lads are helpless. When Sonia arrives in the hospital, she discovers a letter from Bernie among her possessions that is rife with typos. However, the letter is quite touching. Sonia breaks out as she sees the letter. Bernie's academic progress is ongoing. He now scores 24 out of 25 on an exam for the class. Scott is their carer, and she hurries home to inform her sister. But to his amazement, he discovers that his mother has returned. He gives her an embrace, updates her on his development, and displays his grades. Sonia is obviously really pleased and proud. She never stops improving and inspiring Bernie. In the meanwhile, Sonia secures a cleaning job at the home of a wise and kind individual. She is astounded to find a big room filled with various volumes. When she gets home, she discovers her boys watching television. The lads were ordered to visit the library, read 2 books each week, and write reports on each of them after she turned it off. She further states that the boys are only allowed to watch 2 TV shows every week. Once they've completed their assignment. Although the boys appear frustrated, they obey their mother. They establish a reading habit by enrolling themselves at a library. They also begin their educational journey on TV. To enlarge their horizons, they watch a quiz show. Instantaneously, Bernie starts to reap the benefits of his newfound passion for learning. The instructor selects a rock and asks the students whether they are familiar with it. Only a skeptic like Bernie knows. The rock, according to him, is obsidian. He continues by outlining how obsidian is formed. The teacher is astounded by the breadth of this young group's knowledge. He requests to speak with Bernie, following class. When Bernie runs into him, the teacher tells him that he has unleashed the power of his mind. This is a strong assertion, especially coming from your teacher. Bernie consistently performs well in his class. His spelling is impeccable. The spelling bee in his class is won by him. But the instructor is dissatisfied. However, she is forced to proclaim Bernie the winner. She reveals herself to be prejudiced. The administrator of the school declares Bernie to be the top student overall during the annual awards ceremony. In the crowd are his mother and brother. They appear to be just as proud as Bernie. As Bernie receives his award, the prejudiced instructor enters the room and speaks, revealing her ingrained racism. She claims that despite the fact that Bernie is a black kid and was reared by a low-income single mother, the other students should be humiliated since they are unable to outperform Bernie. Sadly, her bigoted worldview prevented her from seeing Bernie's brilliance. The occurrence rattles Mom of Bernie. She makes the decision to have Bernie accepted so that his skills may be recognized regardless of his skin tone. She manages to get him accepted into a school where at least most of the pupils are black. A student bullies Bernie there because of his worn-out, ill-fitting clothing, which is out of style for his generation. He responds to Bernie in his own language, and they end up becoming friends. With his stylish attire and stylish cap, our friend is a fashionista. As a result, Bernie experiences insecurity and an inferiority complex. He asks his mother for money so he may buy a new outfit. Even though his mother doesn't have much, she unwillingly borrows money to purchase Bernie a new pair of pants. Bernie disapproves of the worn-out-looking trousers. He debates with his mother. He wants to dress like his stylish friend. His mother, however, disapproves and claims that those who dress in high fashion are hollow within. Bernie becomes enraged. He picks up the hammer his mother was using to mend the glass during the quarrel and charges at her. He is saved by his brother. He makes some undesirable pals. He is taken to a gang by a stylish buddy, where he purchases a knife. His friend attacks him during an argument. Bernie stabs him with the knife. Fortunately for them both, nothing serious occurs because the knife was already broken. Bernie flees the school in terror. This is a disguised blessing since he terminates the unhealthy and damaging connection. In addition, he becomes aware of the negative consequences of rage and develops the ability to manage it. He receives a scholarship admission to Yale, a prestigious university. There he meets Candy, his girlfriend. He is concerned about his future and academics. He dislikes lectures and is not interested in going to class. He has a really difficult time adjusting to life at Yale. He admits to Candy that his sole strength is reading. Candy assists him. She claims that he can study independently. He works on it all the time. He finds chemistry to be the most annoying of all the topics. He works so hard at studying that he starts to have hallucinations, believing that the chemistry professor is putting the formula down on the board for him. His diligent study pays dividends in the test. He does well and intends to pursue a career in neurosurgery. The most prestigious university in the US, Johns Hopkins, receives his application. Only 2 resident students for the neurosurgery facility were accepted by Johns Hopkins. Indeed, the competition is fierce. There are only opportunities for the top pupils. Bernie is adamant that he will only apply there and there alone in order to be allowed. He attends a meeting. The doctor is impressed by his confidence. Bernie responds that the brain is a strange organ and he wants to solve its mystery when asked why he wants to be a neurological surgeon. He claims to believe in the possibility of miracles and expresses a desire to do them. His interviewer is impressed by his confidence, and he is admitted and continues to succeed at Johns Hopkins. People don't like him. He is not exceptional, according to a prominent physician. He addresses Dr. Carson in a racist manner and commands him to comply with the request. He is hired as a medical resident. When an emergency occurs, the patient requires immediate surgery. It's a matter of life and death here. Dr. Carson, a resident, is the only doctor available to treat the patient. He is ineligible to do surgery on a patient who is battling death since he lacks a medical license. But he performs surgery and rescues the patient despite sacrificing his entire career, of which he had always dreamt. His superior calls him when he is at his office. He is concerned that his activities could result in criticism. But to his astonishment, the senior physician recognizes his efforts in saving a life. His hospital duties continue in this manner. A young couple brings their daughter, who frequently experiences seizures, to the hospital. She's awake now. She is half retarded, according to the other physicians. She requires a hemispherectomy, which would remove a seizure-prone portion of the brain, according to Dr. Carson. This is extremely dangerous since the infant might become paralyzed or lose her capacity to talk and move. He reassures the parent that the child's brain has an amazing capacity for regenerating brain cells, assuming the roles of sick cells, and re-establishing neurological function. However, this is a risk. Additionally, he had never performed this kind of surgery before. But he accepts the task of curing the youngster. He appears worried the night before the procedure. He bows down and prays. He then begins operating on the infant. He handles the youngster very cautiously in the morning. The procedure is complete. The time for judgment has come. The anesthesiologist makes an effort to awaken the child's conscience. Everyone is quite anxious. Every instant, the scenario becomes more stressful. She stays silent. She is transferred to the main ward. Dr. Carson informs the parents that it would take some time to determine whether or not she could speak or move. However, the youngster miraculously reaches out to her parents. The first of many contests are won by Dr. Carson. The press conference draws media attention to this occurrence. He informs the world of his patient's accomplishments and health as her parents stand behind him. He claims that this hemispherectomy would go on to become the go-to procedure in the majority of subsequent instances and that the brain is a remarkable organ that made it feasible. He begins to experience professional success. His personal life, however, is not as pleasant. He has a pregnant wife. The horrific event then takes place. They misplace the kid. He spends time and money by his wife's bedside when she is stillborn. However, his wife advises him to go to the hospital and carry out his duties. He goes despite his hesitation. He collapses. His mother comforts him as he grieves for his devastating loss by telling him that he can save countless lives and fulfill his life's goals. He reports for duty the next morning. Like always, his operation's hardest part is still to come. On the basis of an invitation, he traveled to Germany to serve as a consultant for the potential separation of conjoined twins. The case is as intricate as they come. Initially, he is reluctant to accept the case due to its intricacy. However, he is the world's top pediatric neurosurgeon. He accepts the danger. Day and night, he conducts hourly research and gets ready for the procedure. The time has arrived. The parents of the kids are German. Dr. Carson and 50 staff members get ready for the procedure. For each machine, they receive an alternate. To ensure there are no mistakes, they practice for hours. There is no room for error in this circumstance, not even one. Two teams of medical professionals get ready for the procedure and for caring for two youngsters separately following the procedure. Beginning at 7:15 in the morning, the operation. Cardiothoracic surgeons are also involved. To stop the kids from bleeding to death, a cardiac procedure must first be performed to block the flow of blood to the brain. The brain separating process then begins. Only 1 hour is given to Dr. Carson to finish it. He runs the risk of going completely insane if he waits more than an hour, making the entire endeavor a disaster. But as usual, he completes everything on time, and the entire operation takes a lengthy 22 hours. Dr. Carson visits the parents and tells them that the intricate miracle procedure was a success. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel.